Our first session of today is attributing online and cash sales to specific media buys. I'd like to introduce Scott Paternoster, President of Chief Media.
Hello, everyone. I was not lucky enough to get the 30-minute session, so Vi's got me on the clock already here. So, Scott Paternoster, CEO of Chief Media. We're in New York City. There's a lot going on in our industry with web attribution, what media is driving what to a call center, to online, and what is the true efficiency of the media. And there's a lot of reports to look at in our industry, as you know. You can spend a lot of money very quickly, and you need to make smart, informed decisions, and you need data that's real-time and effective to do that. So what type of data do you look at? There's reports in our industry from media agencies, from call centers, from fulfillment houses, all these different reports that show a marketer that's running a campaign, one picture or another on how their campaign is performing from ultimately what matters to a marketer, their true ROI. And really, you know, you can see here's a picture of some media guys that are real excited about their performance. And me being a media guy, I can certainly associate with these guys. The answer is that all these reports are very, very important for a marketer, but tying them all together is a bit of a critical piece to allow a marketer to truly see their real ROI. So there's a need to see front-end reporting and back-end reporting, and there's a need to see it all tied in together. And the first piece that a marketer needs to see is what's truly happening with the media. So this is an example for those that have not run a media campaign of what an old school media report may look like. There's no pointer on this, is there? There's no, okay. So you can see here that this is stations that have run, how many spots have run, money that was spent on a spot, how many calls came in from a spot, how many orders came in from a spot, and the revenue that was generated from running the media and selling a product on these random stations. The ratio at the end where it says MER is what's called media efficiency ratio, and what that is that's the revenue generated by the sale of the product divided by the cost of media. And you can see by looking at this that Discovery Network looks like it did very well. It did what's called a 2.12 ratio. So for every dollar you spend, you generate $2.12. And then you look at MTV, and MTV looks like we only got 48 cents back on the dollar, right? 0.48. So with today's technology, all you would do as a media person and as a marketer is say, don't buy MTV. I'm losing my shirt on it, right? But there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes now. We know that today, that on average for direct response, over 44% of transactions are happening online as opposed to the call center, and it changes every single quarter, higher and higher percentage. It used to be low price point items, certain demographic targets transacted heavier online. So there's a need to create a software for the allocation of online activity back to the media that's driving them. So now you look at this same media report, and as you can see, it's in a much more snazzy, updated font. And you look at this same scenario where Discovery Network, same spend, you know, same MER of 2.12, but now let's look at what happened. I have to jump up here. In online visits, it drove 555 visits, 92 orders, an additional $3,600 in revenue, and now we're getting $2.60 back for every dollar that we've spent. But let's look at MTV. MTV, we thought, only got us back 48 cents for every dollar that we spent. The MTV viewer is younger, transacted heavier online, and drove an incredible amount of online activity, 414 visits, but 301 online orders for an additional $12,000 in revenue, for a return of $5.69 on every media dollar that was spent. Prior to this type of technology, MTV would have never been purchased on a going forward basis for this campaign. Now with this type of visibility, with this web attribution component, you see the true value of the media that you're buying. So how does it work? Sorry, this is an example of a campaign that we were running within our agency. It was a kids' toys campaign. And 97% of the responses, there was an 800 number on it and there was a URL on it, so the consumer had the ability to respond either way. 97% of the transactions were happening online. We installed our software. Prior to installing the software, we were getting 50 cents back on the dollar. The software was installed, and what happened was we saw the visibility in which stations and which time periods on those stations were driving the true transactions online. The campaign had a 435% improvement in ROI. So it went from doing a 0.5 ratio to almost a 2 to 1 ratio, generating $2 to every $1 sold. The next piece is what happens after the initial media report. So what I just showed you was a media results report, and those two guys in the diner saying, hey, it looks great, sign here, here's my pen. They're happy about that front-end report. But the reality is, from a marketer's perspective, what happens when you now take this order file and send it to fulfillment and transact the credit cards, right? So what happens with fulfillment is you have an order, and let's stay on Discovery Network and let's stay on MTV for example purposes. And we look at Discovery Network, here's our online orders, here's our online revenue, and here's our ratio of 2.6. But when we send the order file to the fulfillment house to process the credit cards, there's a there's a decline rate on those credit cards. Some of those credit cards are not good. So what we see now, there's a system now that's been built into the system that imports all of the fulfillment data and the ongoing activity associated with it back into the media, so you can now see true cash-based transactions associated with the media that you're buying. So now it's no longer a front-end media report, it's real cash, and we've transitioned into what matters to the marketer most, real hardcore cash receipts and ROI. So you're seeing a cancel and decline rate on Discovery Network to bring their ratio from a 2.6 down to a 2.5. You see that MTV didn't have a very high cancellation. You see some other networks, such as Nick at Night, that went from a 5.44 to a 5.14. They had a very high cancellation rate or decline rate on their credit cards. There's a lot to be said in the media when it comes to optimizing the media, because that's one of your most expensive components of a direct response campaign. So to have this sort of visibility into the type of customers that you're acquiring, not only on the station level, but on the day part level, is very important for the marketer to create great efficiencies with their marketing campaign. So now that we're talking about real fulfillment data, we're going to talk about what happens for campaigns that have what's called continuity, auto shipment programs. So you acquire a customer, you allocate the online orders, you send a processing of a credit card down, it declines or gets approved, and then a customer 30 days later had said, yes, I do want to receive another month's supply on an automatic basis. And that information is passed from fulfillment back into our system and adds to the file of the consumer that the marketer has acquired, creating a view that is now starting to build what we refer to as lifetime value of an acquired customer. These are all real, cash-based transactions matched back to your media to allow for ultimate and optimization on your media, your greatest expense. The next component, as a marketer, you start to cross-sell other items to your acquired database. So people may have bought the Ronco rotisserie, the set it and forget it rotisserie. And now, see, I told you, she's all over me, 3 minutes left. Now we only have, we've now offered them a cross-sell. The consumer says yes and purchases the cross-sell. Some do not, and we continue to build on to the value of the acquired consumer and build the file showing how much revenue that customer, John Smith, has purchased from your original marketing campaign when he responded to the ad that he saw at 9 a.m. on MTV January 3rd. And this view can be shown now 7 months, 10 months, 12 months down the road, any given time. So now you can optimize media to target your most profitable customers from a response standpoint. You can analyze media based on the response at the call center as well as online. This type of technology allows marketers to create efficiencies, anywhere from 15 to 40% by optimizing their media campaigns at a level that they've never been able to allow to do before. Here's your new report. This shows the best way to truly optimize a campaign in real cash-based sales, not a front-end media report. Am I on time? That's it. Any questions at all? Yeah. My 15 minutes didn't allow for that slide. The system once, for those that didn't hear that, was how do you attribute the online activity back to the media airings? The media airings are weighted by Nielsen impression level. So if your target for your campaign is women 25-54 and you run a spot on MTV at 9 a.m. and you run a spot on Discovery Network at 9:05 a.m., there are 300,000 impressions to the per Nielsen allocated to the Discovery spot, 500,000 to the MTV spot. The system takes all online activity and matches the visits and orders back according to Nielsen impressions that they reached in your demographic target and allocates them accordingly. Yeah. Right. 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 If I gave this presentation last year, that number would have said 30%. Now, I gave that number as an average across all campaigns, price points, demographic targets. So there's things that skew very old, 35, 50 plus. Excuse me. So those people will respond at a call center. There's types of campaigns that require a lot more explanation. They won't go online. They will go online and read and then ultimately call the call center thereafter. But this number is, with the acceptance of online transactions, is increasing monthly. We have campaigns that no longer use 800 numbers, and I apologize if there's a call center person in this audience, but there are campaigns that use no 800 numbers and drive solely online now. It's a simple test. You test with both, and you see what the response level is for each one, and then if it doesn't make sense to carry the cost of a call center, then this is what you go with. Yeah, thank you.